welcome back to another edition of Research Fantasy Presents our MLB DFS pitcher picks for Wednesday, May 10th, 2017. Got a nice little slate of baseball today. We'll, of course, be focusing on the main slate taking place this evening. We have a ton of upper-tier pitching, at least 4 guys I think you can consider in that range. I think 2 guys sitting on the outside of things. So let's get things started with more of a tournament punt option in Jason Hammel. The results for Hammel have not been great this year, but I still think there's enough talent there that we can't completely ignore him. Taking on a Tampa Bay team that hasn't been great against right-handed pitching thus far. The strikeout rate, pretty high. I think it's something around the 23 to 25% range. And, you know, they can be a frustrating team to target because, again, they can put runs up on the board. But what team are we talking about that can't do that? There's very few teams that aren't potent enough to put up. And there's very few pitchers that are good enough every single time. In fact, there's no pitcher good enough every single time to make sure that a team doesn't put 4 runs or less than 2 runs on them. I mean, we've seen every pitcher, I think, thus far in baseball give up over 2 runs in a game. So it isn't something that we really want to weigh too much. I'm looking at the matchup. I get it. It's at home. It's going to be tough to get a win with Chris Archer on the mound. But I think with the strikeout potential, he could be a little bit of a sneaky play. Remember, you're not expecting to get the same out of him as you are Steven Strasburg in terms of total points. So if he ends up being a better point per dollar play, that could really go a long way, even with Coors not on the schedule for the evening. So he's someone I definitely really like. Changing it up for my article, I'm actually going to give 2 guys I really like near the top. First is Chris Archer. Number 1, he's a much better pitcher at home. Number 2, he's taking on a Kansas City team that's been pretty awful this year. I get that they scored, 7 runs or whatever yesterday, but the pitching scenario between yesterday and today, I think, is quite a bit different. Now, Archer, definitely a guy who's prone to having those mental lapses that we talk about quite a bit with pitching, but again, we're looking at a lot of upside, and while the Royals are much worse against left-handed pitching, that doesn't mean someone like Archer, who has good strikeout stuff especially, can't get the job done. He hasn't had less than 5 strikeouts in a game yet this year. He's had 8 or more 3 times, so he's been a pretty solid guy, only gave up 4 or more runs twice. He's a guy I definitely like tonight. I think he could be a good return on your investment. Finally, to me, I know that there's been a wide variety of players that are being suggested out there, but for me, I'll take Yu Darvish at home in a poor pitching stadium against San Diego Padres. I mean, look, we know what we're getting with the Padres. Can they be sneaky at times? Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind that I'll have some ownership to Ryan Schimpf tonight just because it's a better shift to stadium. And Yu Darvish is just like any other pitcher. If he makes a mental mistake, someone's going to take advantage of him. But overall, we know the Padres like to strike out a lot. They're still undisciplined at the plate. And with all due respect to them, they're not exactly the most intimidating lineup when you look 1 to 9 each and every night. So I think that this is a situation where Darvish could really put together a very solid game. We know his strikeout potential was there, 8 or more in 3 games, double digits in 2. He has had some low strikeout games, 2 games with 4 strikeouts, but this is a team that I could see him easily having 8 to 12 strikeouts against and putting up a strong outing. That'll wrap it up for our pitching picks today. Once again, Jason Hammel, Chris Archer, Yu Darvish, our top 3 tournament pitchers tonight. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel below. Head over to researchfantasy.com. Sign up for our MLB mailing list. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Research and Win. And join us again tomorrow.